Hi, this is Pork reporting for wiwibloggs, and we're talking to X Factor legend and future, possibly Switzerland, Eurovision contestant Kitty Brucknell. So, hi Kitty, how are you?
Hey.
So the obvious question probably is why Eurovision and why Switzerland?
Well, I do think that the UK, um, its previous entries. I mean, Molly last year was great. It was a
Yeah,
really great entry, and for some reason, the UK doesn't get the votes. Either they don't promote it correctly, or they don't take it seriously, or I just think there's some disconnect with the UK. And I've been a huge Eurovision fan since I was like 13, and I
that's
sat
good to
down
hear.
this time. So if I was going to do Eurovision, I would want the best possible chance. I would want to, go all the way around Europe. I want to visit all the countries that vote. I'd want to, go and meet everyone, and I would really get into it. And I just somehow I don't feel like the UK does that. I think they see it as a bit of a embarrassment in some way, and I think that's sad. I don't want to be a part of something that's going to be seen as a joke. I want to be seen as something that's serious. So.
Yeah. So obviously then you're planning on going to Switzerland and doing a full campaign over there?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. If I'm lucky enough to get through to the final selection, then yeah, absolutely. I will go to Switzerland and meet everybody, and I will do my very best to try and win people over.
Well, you look like you've a good chance. I've listened to some of the songs and yours is standing out very highly above them. But
Yeah.
there was a bit of competition today. Did you notice an ex-Pussycat doll joined the race?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, I'm doing a lot of dancing there
yeah,
with that track. But there's more than one place in the
yeah,
national final, so I just want to get there first. If I can just get to that national final, then we can worry about the competition later on.
yeah. And if you did get to go to Switzerland, you'd be in some good company because the last person to win for Switzerland was Celine Dion.
Oh, I
So
know. That's
you
crazy.
and then of course, if we go and look back at the X Factor contestants tend to do well when they're not representing the UK. Because
Yeah,
like we've had Jedward and Ruth Lorenzo, and both of them finished top 10. So
yeah.
do you think the look of the X Factor could help
I'm
you?
hoping. I mean, I know that Loren actually was on Swedish Idol before
Yeah,
she entered Melody Festivalen. So actually, I think there's a really good opportunity for sort of talent show contestants to enter Eurovision and do quite well. I loved Ruth Lorenzo's Dancing in the Rain. I actually heard it like 3 years ago when it was just a demo, and I
oh,
wanted that song for myself. I was like, I want that song. So I'm so proud of her, and she's doing so well. And Jedward, well, I mean, Jedward is like mega.
Jedward. um, yeah, I saw on Twitter today you were saying you'd hope Jedward would go and you'd try and do a duet with him.
If Jedward
That'd be
wanted me to
something
do
to
it,
see.
I would totally do a duet with Jedward. I think the world would implode if
Yeah,
Jedward got together and did a duet.
too
But
much.
yeah, I'd totally be up for that. I think they're great. I think they're really great.
And is Switzerland the only country you're planning on entering this year, or
Uh,
are you going to try a few?
yeah, no, Switzerland is my pick. And I
Switzerland,
just
and
think that they take it seriously. I think that they want to win, which is good. I think some countries they feel like if they won, it'd be a problem to host it and that sort of thing. So I do think Switzerland want to win, and I think they've got like a winner's mentality. They've won with Celine Dion, who's become like one of the biggest stars in the world. So can't get better than that.
yeah. And then obviously based on your X Factor experience, the media have kind of gone crazy when they found out you were going on Eurovision now. And do you find that a lot of pressure?
I do a little bit, yeah. I think there's certain expectations of me, so I have to live up to that and more. Like if I was to go through to Austria, I'd have to come up with something insane. Like I would. I'd have to like literally it would have to be insane. But there's a thin line between parody and entertainment. You just have to create something really beautiful and stand out. I think that's the
Yeah,
most important thing is memorable, but not going so far that you're, I don't know. Um,
a joke.
Sometimes, yeah, I think it can sometimes lean towards parody, especially sometimes, if they don't have a particularly strong song, they're like, oh, well, let's just, throw the kitchen sink at it. And sometimes it can be really simple. Like I love Loren's performance because it's so simple and yet it's beautiful and it's got meaning and it's just, you watch it and you're just in awe. And,
yeah,
you know, all of the winners have had that kind of feel. Um, and, yeah, so I want to create something like that that's talked about for a long time. That's what I want to do.
yeah. Well, like you certainly left an impression after the X Factor, because your staging is legendary. Nearly the performances you put on. Because you came seventh, but when people look back and see who they remember from your series,
Mm.
there's little mix,
Uh-huh.
and then you kind of think. And when your name came out on Sunday night, everybody's like, Kitty Brucknell, we love Kitty Brucknell. Everybody remembers you, and it's because of your staging.
Oh,
So,
yeah, I'm really into staging. I think it's important when you're performing a song to not just do staging for the sake of it, but it has meaning
yeah,
behind it. Like, not a lot of people know that when I did Sweet Dreams, the idea was that I was a ringleader of the Circus of Freaks because I felt
right,
like the freak on the show, and like the press was sort of like surrounding me. So I was like on a wheel of fire. I was, you know, being you know, on the Catherine wheel, and that was the sort of idea behind it. So there was meaning behind it, and it doesn't matter that nobody gets it. It's just that I know
yeah.
that there's meaning, and I want to create that for Eurovision as well.
And how did you feel that the X Factor as a whole, the process, and that how you were treated? Like, do you think that afterwards, that like, are you happy with how the X Factor panned out and the aftermath?
I think it was a really great opportunity for me. Um,
Yeah,
I think there were parts of it afterwards that I felt were a little bit difficult. But at the end of the day,
yeah,
it's made me a stronger person. And I would not be here today with the fan base that I have now and with these opportunities without that show. So I have to be a little bit grateful to it. Obviously, you know, things
yeah.
didn't pan out as well as I'd hoped because when everyone goes on the show, they think they can win. I didn't think I could
Mm.
win actually. When I went on it, I was like, I'm never going to win this. But I'd hoped that would have come fourth, you know, or third or final.
Were
So
you were you a bit annoyed when that was the series where Frankie Kokoza got sent
yeah,
home, and then they brought in
uh-huh.
Amelia Lilly, who'd gotten knocked out
Yeah,
in week one, and that was the same week you got sent
yeah,
home.
yeah.
So did you kind of feel that that was slightly unfair then? That
I don't really remember
did that?
now. I know that there was lots of speculation on who was going in and not. And I remember
Yeah,
talking to her and asking her if she wanted to do it. And I think she'd already been signed by a label. Like, I think a label had already picked her
right.
up. So I don't think she really cared. She was like, well, it's just extra promotion because I'm going to get signed anyway. Um, so
Yeah,
I think that pretty much was like sign and seal. Um, but yeah, I mean, I was just like, go for you, like go for it. I think
yeah,
yeah, you know, it's one of those things when you're in that competition, you think that's the only thing that matters. But as soon as you're out of it, you're like, was I really that obsessed with this? This is, you know, and you know, she'll get to the final. She did like the most amazing performances on tour. She did Ain't No
yeah.
Other Man on tour in like a pink dress. It was so good.
And are you still in touch with any of the people
Tried
in
to.
your
I did.
X
I
Factor?
actually texted Louis tonight. I congratulated him on his groups.
Oh,
Louis is wicked. I love him. I think he's a great mentor, and he was really supportive of me. So, you know, I
but he's three Eurovision winners under his belt,
yeah, I know. I
so
think
like, if
he does
if
support Eurovisions.
he's yeah, he's a useful contact to have anyways if you do get to go to
Well, that's the
Eurovision.
thing. I've already told him. I said, go and listen to my song and see what you think. I'd love to know what he thinks. And you know, like,
And you're a very busy woman because you don't just have your Eurovision song to look worry about. You have a new single out as
that's
well,
right.
Glitter in the
Yeah.
Sky.
Excuse me. I've got horrible cold. I'm like sniveling. Oh, there we go. Yeah, no, Glitter in the Sky is my new single, and it's out on October the 19th. So for that, I feel like I'm a fresh artist. I'm starting at the bottom. I didn't want to sort of use the
Yeah,
X Factor stuff. I mean, I did some interviews and things, but in terms of like my actual music, I didn't want to kind of do all of the X Factory things about. It's difficult.
you
It's difficult
crowdsourced
to
it, didn't you?
not use the X Factor in your promotion, but I've tried to not let
Yeah,
that affect who I am as an artist, if that makes sense. So it's, you know,
yeah,
it's building your profile. You start at the bottom and you build and just keep releasing good music. That's the whole point, is that I just want to keep putting out good music. And, you know, if one of them does well, then, you know, my life will change. Like if I charted in the top 40
yeah,
with a song that I wrote, like everything would change. And, you know, whether it happens with the first single, which is extremely unlikely, but if it did, it's great. Or if it happens with your sixth single, you know, if it's way down the line on your
Yeah.
third album, like that's sometimes artists have to wait like 3 albums before they even chart. But at the end of the day, I'm just so excited that I get to release my own music. So.
And I thought it was a really sweet touch in the lyric video. You got your fans to
Yeah,
hold up the lyrics. And how did it feel that you still had such a fan base, even though it's nearly 4
it's
years
amazing.
after your
I'm
X Factor
actually, I mean, I'm
days?
so touched by it. It's just, sometimes I look on my Twitter and I think, oh my God, I've got all these people that really, like, they're really into the whole Kitty Diva thing. And I love that I created something like that. Maybe for kids who, you know, feel like they haven't got anyone to talk to. I want them to feel like they can talk to a Kitty Diva about their problems and we can support them. And it just become like a big family. So yeah, I can't go on about that because I just go on and on forever. But yeah, my fans have been amazing and I
Well,
love them so
hopefully,
much. Yeah.
hopefully the
Um,
Kitty
yeah.
Divas is your fan base. Hopefully they expand
Well,
now
you know,
in the coming
you may
months with
think
if you
that,
get
you know,
further.
one day there'd be kitty all over the world, and that would be something. And I would always want to be the same person. I would always want to be like on my phone, like, oh, tweeting everyone and saying, hey, how you doing? And like, I never want to be one of those artists that forget, you know, where they came from or sort of slag off their roots or anything like that. And I will always be grateful to the X Factor, and I will always be grateful to my fans, and I will never forget that. So that's just me.
Um, and then that was the lyric video, but then in the actual video, you went skydiving.
I did. I did. I skydived.
And was that all done in one
Oh,
take, or did you have to do
so
it a
here's the
few
thing.
times?
That music video was mental. The original idea was that we were going to completely take over a tube train in the middle of the night and just film it all on
Okay.
phones, and it was going to be this whole viral idea. But we decided that maybe we wanted to do something a bit different. And then we were talking about glitter. We were talking about sky. We were just like, oh, can we throw glitter out of a plane? And like, it just ended up skydiving. But the actual day that I did
Yeah.
the video, wasn't great weather. Like in the morning, it was pouring with rain and I was nearly in tears. I was like, I've spent my life savings on this video and it went vastly over budget. And I was like, oh, I'm screwed. Because everyone, you know, they'd been booked. The skydive day had been booked. And we get there and he's like, look, I'm going to be honest. He's like, you may not be able to jump today. And I'm like, and we were literally waiting for the clouds to part. All they have to do is have something like 30% cloud cover. That's all they. So it doesn't have to be amazing weather. It just has to be good, decent cloud cover. So we wait until they part, and he's like, right, quick, get in the plane. And I have no time to think. I've just got to just get strapped to somebody and just jump out of a plane quickly. Oh, okay. And you see everyone. We were last to go, and you see everyone drop out. So you sort of sit in this thing and you're waiting, and the plane's getting lighter and lighter as people drop out. And you're like, oh, this is real. Oh, this is real. And your whole body is telling you don't get out of the plane, and yet you do. And it's inexplicable, but it's super fun.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised, like in a nice way, how down to earth you seem compared with like the media persona that you have. But Kitty
Yeah, that's
Brucknell
right.
is only your stage name, and
Yeah,
your
that's right.
actual name is Kimberly Edwards. And how much of Kimberly is inside the Kitty that we see on stage? Or
Do
are
you
they
know what? I
really
always
two
have this
different
conversation.
characters?
One of my best friends does something completely different. He manages a glamour model. But he always says to me, he always picks out things that I don't notice. And he says, when he watched me at the very beginning, he's like, you had this character and it was simply the character. And he said, you've kind of morphed it. And now he said, sometimes I feel like I'm watching too much Kimberly. And he said, you need to get some other Kitty back. I think the problem with X Factor is that when you're on the stage, everyone at home thinks, oh, well, because they're only watching her on stage, she must be like that because they wrap all the personality stuff around it as well. So if you're crazy and zany on stage, oh, she must be crazy and zany at home. And I had this problem and I felt like people were expecting me to be crazy and zany. So all these weird things would come out about me and I'm like, well, this isn't true. And I kept saying to people, it's not true. I am just, you know, it is just it's like an alter ego on stage. And yet, you know, if you're too confident, this is the other thing. If you're too confident on the show, then they start going the other way. They're, oh, well, she shouldn't be confident because she hasn't made it yet. And I always think, well, I feel like I made it even by getting past the first round. Like, I felt like I'd succeeded my life goal just by getting past the first round. So I was like, I'm happy, like I'm here. So that is difficult. I don't think that aspect of it is very kind of, sometimes it's very well handled, because it's difficult to explain it to an audience that, yeah, the person you see on stage might not be the same kind of person that's off stage. A lot of people that are big performers are sometimes quite shy. Like, you'll meet them in real life and they'll be like, oh, hi. Like, oh, but you're this big character on stage. And sometimes they use that as a release. So it's interesting.
So I presume that if you do make
absolutely. No, Kimberly, and I mean, to be honest though, this is sort of normal for me most days. Oh, excuse me, that went right up my nose. Oh, what is going on here? I'm making strange sound. Excuse me, 1 second. Oh, okay. Well, I haven't had snot pouring out yet, so that's good. Very happy. Yeah, no, this is sort of normal. Although I love juicy couture tracksuits, that's my thing, and it's a bit, you know, a bit old hat, a bit 90s, but what can I do?
And then just kind of nearly to wrap things up, like what a big memory people have of you is that you were like, before you were on X Factor, you were Britney Spears and Lady Gaga, and you were doing those impersonations. Like, are there still
that
big
whole period of my life, and it's so crazy. I did that for 6 years, and I just look back at it with a huge cringe. Like, literally, I see videos, I'm like, oh, and how did I ever think this was a viable career? So yeah, I did it. I got really into it. Like, there's this whole small selection of these impersonators, and they get together in Vegas, and when you're in that group, you think it's the most important thing in the world, but anyone else sort of like looking in would just go, oh, weird. It's kind of like being at Halloween every day. And then when I went to the X Factor, I realized that no one really cares about how much you look like Britney Spears, and no one cares how much detail you've got in your costume for Lady Gaga. Like, nobody cares. And it was this huge, like, it was this weight lifted off my shoulder, and I was like, what was I thinking? And it was kind of the reason that I came out of it. I was just like, this is ridiculous. I mean, I was spending like so much of my time, because when I do something, I really do it. Like, I don't go in for something half-heartedly. I go for it like full on. And I'm spending like $3,000 for one costume. And I'm like, what am I doing? I could be spending that on my career. You know, this is silly. Like, this is totally silly. It needs to stop. And I'm looking back, like, some of the videos are all right. I mean, they're all dance routines and stuff. But yeah, it's not really something that I'd recommend anybody doing. Gotta start somewhere.
So have you kind of have you moved away from them then?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Or do you
actually, probably one of my biggest musical inspirations is Within Temptation. They're like a rock band. They're amazing. I saw them at Download this year. Okay. Really into them. I love Adam Lambert. He's one of my favorite ever reality TV contestants. I'm literally like a god. He's amazing. I love Queen, and I really like theatrical performers. I really like Loren's album that she did after she won Eurovision. She did Heal, which is beautiful, like so well produced and just beautiful, like the whole album. And I tried to get all my friends to download it. I'm like, come download this album, it's great, it's amazing. And there's so many artists that I find, just by going through, you know, iTunes, I'll look through iTunes and see like who's topping the indie charts, like who's doing this, who's doing that. And that's the way I discover new artists. Yeah. Do you know what? I loved it. Actually, the guy who wrote it, Charlie Mason, he wrote quite a lot of the songs that are on my Pleasures album, which is really amazing. So I wrote them, and I was like, my my God, Charlie Mason, right? I was like,
Okay.
that is amazing.
So,
He's been like slogging away. He's one of the most prolific writers ever. He's written for like Miley Cyrus and VOA and there's a whole bunch of amazing people. So when he won Eurovision with Conchita, I was like, yes, finally he gets recognition. So I think that's really cool.
good
Yeah,
luck,
he wrote
Simon.
a song on my Pledges album called, I think he wrote Remix, a little bit of that. I think, yeah, there was a few. So that's quite cool. He did lyrics for some of the songs. So yeah, no, Conchita's amazing.
Okay. And then just before we go, do you have any message for our readers who are watching this on YouTube or reading on our
Oh,
site
I
on
want to
wiwibloggs?
say thank
Do you
you
have any
to
message for them?
everybody who has supported this yearning. I have no idea that. Oh, excuse me. Oh, what is going on here? I just want to thank everybody who has watched my song and commented. Because one thing that we're looking at, we do read the comments and we read it and we think, okay, that's actually a really valid point. The song is always being refined. So if we think, oh, people are commenting on this, I think we might, change it. I actually read your blog on my song, and I'll thank you for writing nice things. And yeah, I mean, we're always refining. We're always looking at like different ways to, make it better and things. We were thinking maybe like real strings on the track, like we could go and record, a real orchestra. I mean, we've actually got the opportunity with the label that I'm working with here. So, there's things like that I just want to give people something that they can get behind in a really big way. Cause I know that I would never let them down. I would, if I put my mind to something, I would do it. So I want to just thank everybody who's been so supportive of it. So, yeah.
Okay. So best of luck to you and your team from everyone at wiwibloggs. And I think anybody who's viewing the video should give it a thumbs up if they think you should be going off to Vienna. Because I'm sure, like, out of all the songs, yours is the best we've seen so far. And that's genuine.
Do you know what? We're
I've
really
tweeted
afraid
about
that
it, so
someone's
there's
gonna
evidence.
what if like, I don't know, what if like One Direction comes along and like submits something at the last minute? I'd be like, oh dude. Do you know what? Even the fact that I've had such amazing response to it has been like overwhelming. Like I did not expect that at all. So I just want to see what happens. Like I'm so excited.